This PPT has been prepared by referring many sources from the internet, including textbooks, notes, videos. This PPT is exclusively used for the purpose of education and not for any financial gains. Welcome to second part of module 5. In this part we will discuss about the estimation of small mechanical parts, few numericals related to that, procedure to be followed. What is estimating? The process of compilation of the statement of quantity of material involved, the amount of time involved in production, and the procedures to be followed in putting an order through together with cost of the article is termed as estimation. See now, whenever a part is to be manufactured, we need to calculate the total cost to manufacture that particular part. Costing will involve the entire time involved, the cost involved, everything. Estimation is just about the material cost required for that. So in this chapter we will discuss about how to calculate the total material cost for simple mechanical parts, and it serves many objectives like decide about the selling price, because it's one of the steps towards setting the selling price, as DMC is a part of selling price, and helps to fill tenders or to estimate profit. Tenders are to be called, and to complete a particular work, some subcontracting has to be done. While doing so, I can say whether that particular contracting could be taken up or not, whether that tender could be taken up or not, that depending on my profit, estimated profit. Helps to decide about the overheads, what kinds of overheads need to be considered while estimating the cost of a particular part. Helps in make or buy decision. So if I end up with the cost which is too costly for me, in the sense, if I am manufacturing too many less parts, it is not advisable to go for manufacturing of those parts, because the fixed cost and the variable cost itself will add up and shoot the total cost involved up. Instead of that, then I can go for buy from a subcontractor. That would be more profitable for me. So this is another objective that this will serve. What are the functions of estimating department? To determine the material cost, taking into consideration various allowances given for different manufacturing operations, such as parting of allowance, uh, then facing allowance, such allowances, finishing allowance, one more allowance. These are the different kinds of allowances which must be considered while calculating the total material cost. To find the cost of the parts to be purchased from outside vendors, what should be the total cost that can be separately separated in the budget to be purchased from the outside vendors. That is the second function. Determine cost of equipment, tools, machinery, jigs and fixtures. uh, how much of equipment must be allocated towards the tools, equipments, machineries, jigs, fixtures, dies, etc. To determine the labor cost, considering the labor time with the help of the wage rate, labor cost based on work study. Last part we had discussed about this, how to set up the standard time, how to consider various allowances. To calculate the overhead charges, while calculating the selling price of a product. and finally to find the most economical procedure of making a product uh, in terms of time study, so that the total time involved to manufacture a particular product will be kept at minimum, and the time to market will be shortened as much as possible. The discussion till now sounds similar. Costing and estimation. You would be wondering, what is the difference between costing and estimation? Let us see that. When it comes to costing, determines the actual cost of the product, whereas estimating means it is probable cost of the product. It's not exact. Whereas costing takes all the allowances, everything in a very scientific way, and gives the actual cost of the product, while estimating is a probable and it's an approximate, and estimating is done before the product is manufactured, while the costing is done after the product is manufactured. And estimating is based on assumptions, while costing is based on facts. To estimate the total cost of a product, you need lots of experience, uh, whereas in costing, if you know basic arithmetics and accounting, you can do that. And estimation could go wrong. There is no rule that estimation will always be correct. Estimation may go wrong, whereas costing it's more accurate, and chances of getting a wrong value is very less when I do the costing. Profits and losses are forecasted in estimating, while they are actually calculated during costing procedure. So this is the basic difference between estimating and costing. To put it in a nutshell, estimating, the name itself suggests I am just trying to get an approximate cost of manufacturing, whereas costing involves a very scientific procedure based on mathematics and science. It doesn't say that estimating is totally vague. Estimating also involves many mathematical formulae, uh, many physics relationship, but still experience counts a lot during estimation, whereas costing we actually calculate them. That is the major difference between estimating and costing. Mensuration, it is a branch of mathematics wherein various formulae are discussed, and uh, they are derived for particular area, perimeter, circumference, volume, etc. So for our estimation, we deal about the volume. We do not want the area and other formulae. We would be more interested in knowing the volume of various solid bodies. So rectangular prism has a volume of length into breadth into height. Triangular prism has length into breadth into height divided by 2. Volume of a cylinder is given by pi r squared h, or pi d squared L by 4. That can also be used. Volume of a cone is given by 1/3 pi r squared h. We can very easily know that volume of cone is 1/3 the volume of the cylinder. Volume of a pyramid is given by 1/3 the area of the base into height. There is no difference between volume of a cone and a pyramid. If the area of a pyramid is a circle, it takes the shape of a cone, that's all. So if the area of the shape of the base of a pyramid is a square, then area of this square into height divided by 3, 1/3 of that. If the formula will change as and when the shape of the base changes in case of a pyramid. Next we have the volume of frustum of a pyramid. It is given by h by 3, that is the vertical height of the pyramid, divided by 3 multiplied by area of the base plus area of the top face plus the square root of area of the base into area of the top face. See here, the as and when the shape of the base changes, formula will change, whether it is a square or a rectangle or a pentagon or a hexagon, depending on that it changes. Volume of the frustum of a cone, it is not different from that of frustum of a pyramid. See, if the shape of the base is a circle, then it becomes frustum of a cone, that's all. So for that also we can use the same formula. See, it is pi h by 3 into r square plus r into r plus r square, where capital R is the radius of the bottom circle and small r is the radius of the top circle. Or see, I can you use the same formula. H, if I use this pi r square, that is nothing but area of the bottom face, and pi small r square is nothing but the area of the top face. So you can still use the same formula as that of the frustum of a pyramid. We will get the same answer. There is no difference between these two. Next, volume of this sphere is given by 4 by 3 pi r cube, and the segment of a sphere is given by 1/3 pi h square multiplied by 3 capital R minus h. H is this height, that is the segment height. You can see that in the figure, h is the segment height and r is the radius of the sphere. So normally segment of a sphere means it is less than hemisphere. That's what we need to know. If it is a hemisphere, it is half of sphere. It's very clear. So when I mean segment of a sphere means it is less than a hemisphere. That's the point that we need to remember. Now let us discuss about few numericals. A CI stepped cone pulley, that is a cast iron stepped cone pulley, is as shown in the drawing. And if the material cost is rupees 90 per kg, calculate the total unit and the material cost. Assume the density of the material as 7.009 grams per cc. And the all dimensions in this figure are in centimeters. So we have a stepped cone pulley here. So we have one part here, second part here, and the third part here, and a hollow part in order to insert this pulley into the rod. So first what we need to do whenever we get a sketch like this, segregate this sketch into various subsections. Like see, I have this part, let me call this as A. I have second part, I will call this as a B. I have the third part, I will call this as C. The hollow part, I will call this as D. Now the common sense says I add the volume of part A, I add the volume of part B, I add the volume of part C, and then I subtract the volume of D from these three parts, so that I will get the total volume of the entire part. It's as simple as that. So now once I identify that, next step is what is the shape of each part. Let us come to A, and I know that from the figure I can very clearly say that since this is a diameter of 15 centimeter diameter, so it has to be a cylinder. So let me use the formula of cylinder, pi r squared h. I can also use pi d squared L by 4. So that is equal to pi into d is 15 and length or the height is 5 centimeter divided by 4. When I calculate, I get it as 883.57 centimeter cube. That is the volume of part A. Now let us come to volume of part B. How does it look? Again, it's in the shape of a cylinder with the diameter of 12 and a height of 5. So again, let me use the same formula, pi d squared L by 4. Pi into 12 square into 5 divided by 4. I end up with 565.57 centimeter cube. Let me come to third part, part C. How does it look? It is also in the shape of this cylinder with a dia of the cylinder as 9 centimeter and the height is 5 centimeter. Again, I will use the same formula, pi d squared L by 4. So pi into 9 square into 5 divided by 4, and I end up with the answer as 318.1 centimeter cube. Now what else remains? The hollow part, part D. How does it look? Again, it's a cylinder only with a diameter of 6 centimeter and a total length of 5 plus 5 plus 5, that is 15 centimeter. So again, I will use the same formula, pi d squared L by 4, pi into 6 square multiplied by 15 here, because the total length for the entire length I have to calculate it. 15 that is equal to, I end up with 424.11 centimeter cube. Now what is the total volume of the entire part? It's quite common. So it is A1, A plus volume of A plus volume of B plus volume of C minus volume of D. So it's very clear. So when I calculate, I end up with 1343.14 centimeter cube. So that is the total volume of the entire part. Once I calculate the part of the volume of the entire part, then I need to calculate the unit. Unit means that is the mass. Mass is given by density into volume, and the density is given as 7.009 grams per centimeter cube. That is the density of the cast iron, and it is available in the data handbook. Okay, so I substitute the value of density, I substitute the value of the volume that I have already calculated, and I end up with 9414.1 grams here, because density is in terms of grams per centimeter cube. So centimeter cube of density and centimeter cube of the volume get cancelled with each other, and I end up with 9414.1 grams. So when I convert that into kgs, I will divide it by 1000, so that I will end up with 9.414 kg. Now what is the total cost of this part? The cost of the material per kg is given as 90 rupees per kg, that is given here. So I will substitute that value. So cost of the pulley is given as 9.414 into 90 rupees, total 847.26, or approximately we can make it as 850 rupees per pulley. So this is the estimated cost. Here what can vary? The material cost may vary. Density will not vary. Material cost may vary. So last time it was this much. So this time also it is estimated that it will remain as it is, and based on that I will calculate, and it may change, it may not change. That's why it is called as an estimate. So it is the probable cost, not the exact cost. Even though I have used the mathematical formula here, uh, as of now it is perfect, but tomorrow it may vary if the material cost varies. Let us go to the second problem. The figure is given here. This is a spindle. This is a spindle, and it was turned from MS rod of 45 mm dia, and facing and parting of alliances are 1 millimeter and 5 millimeter respectively. Assuming 15 mm length of rod is required for grip in the chuck, calculate the unit of 10 ms spindle, taking density of ms as 7.8 grams per cc. Also calculate the unit of the scrap. See here, this is the finished part. Finished part has a total diameter of maximum diameter that we can see from the figure. It is 4 5. All dimensions, I believe that it is in centimeter. So 40 centimeter is the maximum dia of this spindle. So what is the dia of the raw material? Dia of the raw material is 45 mm. From a 45 mm rod, I have turned this MS spindle. How many spindles are turned? 10 MS spindles are turned. So some allowances are also given. 1 mm for the facing, 5 mm for parting, and 15 mm is required for gripping in the chuck. So let us start with the calculation. The basic calculation remain the same. First I have to calculate the volume of the part. How can we take this ahead? Volume of the part can be calculated. Volume of the raw material can be calculated. If I subtract the volume of the part from the volume of the raw material, I can get the volume of the scrap. If I can get the volume of the scrap, calculating the unit is very simple. I can use the formula density into volume. So this is the basic procedure how I can proceed ahead. So let me start with calculation of the uh, volume of this part. So to start with, again I will divide this into 1 2 3 4 parts. Part A, you can very easily make it out. It's in the form of a cylinder. I will use the formula pi r squared h. I substitute the values. 2 is the diameter, 2 centimeters the diameter, 3 centimeter is the length, and 9.425 centimeter cube is the volume of part A. Then part B has a volume of 50.26 centimeter cube. That also we can see that it is in the form of a cylinder. Coming to part C, it is not in the form of a cylinder. Shape is a little bit different. How does it look? It looks like the frustum of a cone, right? Since it looks like the frustum of a cone, I will use the formula h by 3 pi r squared, that is the area of the base plus area of the top face plus square root of area of the base, lower base into area of the upper base. So using that formula, I will calculate the volume of the part C. When I use that formula, I will end up with 7.33 centimeter cube as the volume. Then part D, that is the hollow part. Again, I can very easily make it out. It's in the shape of a cylinder. I will use pi d squared L by 4. And I end up with 6.28 centimeters cube as the volume. Total volume of the stepped cone pulley is 60.732. Part A plus part B plus part C minus part D. That turns out to be 60.732 centimeter cube. Unit or the mass of one component is equal to 0.7474 kg by substituting the density and converting that into kgs. So unit of 10 components, or the total weight of 10 components, is 4.74 kgs. So this is the first step. So first I have calculated the total weight and the volume of the 10 components. Now let us proceed towards calculation of the volume of the raw material and unit of the raw material. So we will start with the calculation of the scrap. As I've already said, to calculate the scrap volume, I need to calculate the raw material volume. So total material required for 10 components is given by length of the spindle is 8 centimeter, 5 plus 3 plus 2. For 10 components it is 80 centimeter or 800 millimeter. So that is the total length required for the spindle. To this, what I need to add? I need to add the allowances. Which are the allowances? Facing allowance 1 millimeter. So on two sides I have to do facing. When once I do the parting, on both the sides I have to do facing. So 1 mm extra I have to keep. So that will be 10 into 2, that is equal to 20 millimeter. Then parting of allowances for 10 spindles, it is 10 into 5, 50 millimeters. Length required for holding the job, that is equal to 15 mm. So what is the total allowance? Total allowance is equal to 20 plus 50 plus 15, and hence the total length of the MS rod should be 800 plus 20 mm towards the facing allowance, 50 mm towards the parting of allowances, and 15 towards the length required for holding the job in the check. So total it is 885 millimeters or 88.5 centimeter. So diameter of the rod required is 45 mm. So volume required is pi d squared L by 4. I will use the same formula. Pi into 4.5 square into 88.5, that is the total length, divided by 4, that comes out to be 1407.5 centimeter cube. So this is the volume of the raw material or the workpiece. So unit of the rod or the total mass is calculated using the same formula, density into volume. I get 10978.7 grams, or that is the total weight of the raw material. And I have already calculated the total weight of the 10 components as 4740 grams. So what is the weight of the scrap then? Weight of the scrap must be weight of the raw material minus weight of the components. Weight of the raw material is given as 10.978, and weight of the component 10 components or 10 spindles is given as 4740 grams, that we have already calculated. So when I subtract them, I end up with 6238 grams or 6.23 kgs. This is the total scrap. So if you want to calculate the what is the scrap value, you multiply it by the cost of that particular scrap, you will get the total cost of the scrap. This is the third part. Procedure remains the same. There is no change in the procedure. The following figure gives the dimensions of the lathe center. One material will be given and its density value will be given. Cost of the material is given. By looking into the shape, you have to start estimating. Now in this first part, I can see that this length is not given. This is only change in this particular problem. This length is need to be calculated. So as a first step, I need to calculate the length of that. So to find the unknown length, let me consider it as a triangle. See, the total angle between this line and this line is 120 degree. So that is the nose angle of this particular part is 120 degree. So let me calculate this length. So to calculate that length, I will use the Pythagoras theorem. Let me divide this entire equilateral triangle, or this particular triangle may not be equilateral, this triangle into half, so that I can get a right angled triangle. I will name it as a ABC. So this comes out to be A, this comes out to be B, and this comes out to be C, or something like that. Okay. And now I need to calculate the length of AB. Length of BC I can very easily get, because the total diameter is 500 millimeter, all dimensions are in mm, and hence the total diameter is 50 mm, half of that will be 20 centimeter. So I will use the Pythagoras theorem tan 60, because this angle will be 60, half of 120. So tan 60 will be opposite by adjacent BC by AB. So BC length I already know. Therefore, AB is equal to BC by tan 60. When I substitute the values, I will end up with 144.3 millimeter. So once I get that, other procedure remains the same. Again, I will divide this into part A, B, C, D and E. 5 parts are there, and there is no hollow part here because this is a lathe center. That's a solid component. So let me start with the volume of part A. Volume of part A, it is from the figure we can clearly make it out as the cone. So volume of the cone is given by 1/3 pi r squared h. Substitute the values. Radius is 250 and h we just calculated it as 144.3. Substitute the values, we get 9444.4 millimeter cube. Part B is a cylinder. Use the formula pi r squared h or pi d squared L by 4. And again volume of part C, it is again a cylinder. Use the same formula pi r squared h, and I end up with 3116.3 millimeter cube. Again part D is also a cylinder. Use the same formula pi r squared h. I end up with 11780.9 millimeter cube. So these are the 4 parts. Now part E remains to be calculated. Volume of part E, how does it look? It is again frustum of a cone. Frustum of a cone, h by 3, area of the base plus area of the top face plus square root of area of the base into area of the top face. Formula is the same. What is the formula? Area of the base is it is circle pi r square. That is the area of the base. So substitute the values. And I end up with 19242255 millimeter cube, because the length is 150 mm and the diameter is 500 mm. So radius would be 250 mm. So it's a very huge lathe center. So we end up with so much of volume. So calculate, add all of them. So the total volume I get it as 19306,677.5 millimeter cube. Now what is it? Put it in terms of centimeter cube. If I put it in terms of centimeter cube, I will get it as 19306.8 centimeter cube. I have just rounded it off. Now unit of the material, same formula, density into volume. There is no difference here. Density is given as 7.009 multiplied by 19306.8, and it comes out to be 135.32 kgs. We can very easily estimate that. See, 50 centimeter dia, and the length is also almost 1000 mm length. So obviously we can estimate it as a very huge lathe center. Okay, and its weight would be 135.32 kgs. That's quite obvious. So in this figure we can see a rivet head. I hope you can make it out. How to estimate the cost of a rivet head? Okay, the dimensions are given, and its density is 8 grams per cc, and if the rivets are manufactured from 6.8 kgs, sorry, 6.5 kgs of material, calculate the number of rivets that can be manufactured from this total material of 6.5 kgs. Assume that there are no wastages. So alloyances are assumed to be neglected here. So without considering any alloyances, let us calculate the number of rivets that can be manufactured from 6.5 kgs of materials. Procedure remains the same. There won't be any difference. And what we need to remember is that rivet head is considered as a segment of a sphere. It's not hemisphere. Please try to understand. A rivet head is not a hemisphere. Even though it looks like a hemisphere, it is less than hemisphere, and that's why it is considered as the segment of a sphere. So whenever the volume is less than the hemisphere, we consider it as the segment of a sphere. So again, part A, B, C, part A and C are segments of sphere, and part B is a cylinder. Volume of part A, we have already understood that our earlier slides during mensuration section. The segment of a sphere is given by pi by 6h square multiplied by 3d minus 2h, where d is the diameter of the sphere or the curved part, and h is the height of the segment. So in this case, height of the segment is 24 mm, and radius of the circular portion is 33 mm. I will substitute those values. Pi by 6 into 24 square multiplied by 3 into 66, because it is d, minus 2 into 24, and I end up with 45238 millimeter cube. So volume of part C is as same as that of part A, because both are identical. Then the part B is a cylinder. I will use the formula pi d square L by 4 or pi r squared h. We can use any of those two. So that comes out to be 43295 millimeter cube, and the total volume is so much, and converting that into centimeter cube, I get 133.77 centimeter cube. And unit of one rivet, again we can very easily estimate it as volume into density, that is 133.77 into 8 grams per cc. That was given, that is already given in the problem. So it comes out to be 1070.68 grams, that is equal to 1.07 kgs. That is the total weight of the rivet. Okay, and then available material is 6.5 kg. So we need to calculate how many rivets can be manufactured from the available material. Available material is 6.5 kg. So number of rivets that can be manufactured from the available material is 6.5 divided by 1.07, approximately 6.07. So I cannot do that. I can only manufacture 6 complete rivets. So that is the total number of rivets to be calculated. So all these problems are normally 10 marks problems. If the complexity of the figure is high, even we may expect 12 marks also, but normally 8 to 10 marks are normally allotted for this problem. Very simple. Be careful over there. First identify the shape of that particular part, whether it's a cylinder, frustum of a cone, frustum of a pyramid, sphere, hemisphere, segment of a sphere. All those things you just identify, and once you identify that, go on calculating the volume of each and every part, and then either you may have to add them together, or you may if it has a hollow part, subtract that hollow part from it. In that way you arrive at the total volume of that particular part. It is simple arithmetic problem. If you make mistake anywhere, you won't get any mark. That is the major drawback. So make sure that you are calculating it carefully, and do it slowly. Don't rush through. Use the appropriate formula that has already been discussed, so that there won't be any loss of marks. See, especially module 5, you cannot afford to lose even 1 mark, because you can very easily score 20 out of 20, or at least 18 out of 20 in this particular module. Thank you.